that there isn't one. If a house divided can't stand, we been sitting, but sitting officials letting you starve and die. They say for a party, I say it's dogma to America's awful lie. Sniffing the party line, intoxicated from white. That fake superiority created by authority to convince the parts he still one cast up. Cause at least you not black, and if at least you not that, then if you see and got mad that the elite eat on backs of your labor, you point at your neighbor instead of up. To keep you off track, they told you your sins weren't sins, but beneath that hatred is shame. Your humanity was picked and sold with the cotton of slave. System is fucked, we benefit passively, white liberals and such. Make a social identity from giving a fuck. But that privilege they may acknowledge, they ain't giving it up. We ain't living it much, the ego's driving the car, and it just depends on where it got its license. How many of us really choose our own thoughts and vices? You don't get paid, but you're a walking advertisement, made us all addicted to fame so that we work for free. Millions factless cause their schools ain't teach them how to find them. If they get to choose, they pick the ones that their wants align with. Can you track your opinion to its origin? If not, iight then. We move without intent, they profit when we not decisive. Rappers been lazily referencing the Matrix for years. Who knew algorithms would really dictate what we cheer? Too lazy to care, afraid to look inward. We live in our own noose, for we live in our own truth. Fake tweets about how you love everyone. You won't even wear a mask to save somebody's grandmother. Entitled to the lies of freedom, you in denial. I seen this shit for a while, it's lethal, man, word to Dan Glover. You can't fake lightning, but you can plan thunder. Pay a racist brand before we pay attention. I sit in damn wonder. Yeah. And everyone talking generational wealth, but outside making money for ourselves. We won't give the next generation no help. May already be too late to save the fucking planet. If we don't stop playing, there won't be no more generations to help. We train people for survival of the fittest in traumatic conditions and sold them things that kill them. We made life into a gamble in the name of capitalism, then tried to hit the democracy switch when COVID hit and now it's destined to fail. You can't abuse populations, leave them destitute and vacant, and then ask them to care about anything but their next move. Our own nation to blame, so I get why we at the club. Still, I ain't say I'm not enraged, I want better from us. I just don't expect it. Trauma is cyclical, the most likely ones to neglect are the neglected. They have futures selling you Molly Lean, Percocet, and you think for a check they need a scheme on vaccine injections? A lot of the soft bigotry of low expectations, a lot of fetishization, celebrating regressive themes in the name of progression. And when something truly powerful come, it's hesitation. And there's this fishy correlation between what's considered cool and what profits for corporations. Rappers streaming tens of mils considered not as poppin', cause on their next endeavor, no labor loan's an option. Soul vacancy across the culture, so when they say they do it for it, man, I gotta wonder. The only culture is validate wins and win equals money. Truth's like my chest in 06 is beneath with a rugby. I don't even like talking this direct. I ain't no book report ass rapper, but I object to the marriage to greed and clout without heat and doubt of what winning means. Ask why we on different teams, we don't play the same sport. Started getting to some places I've been trying to go and looking around like, yo, this ain't what I came for. So if I gotta give up what's righteous to get it, you can keep it. Fuck a popular lie, I'd rather be a truthful secret. Herd immunity to truth and self-assessment. Truth is, if not for COVID, Trump would've won re-election in a landslide. So we evaded Armageddon for good old store brand depression. But if a leader more savvy and less sociopathic with true fascist aspirations come along, it's gonna be tragic. 74 million proved if the right rhetoric is used. We could end up on the wrong side of World War II too. And to defeat white supremacy, you gotta first want to defeat white supremacy. I don't think most of us really do. How many white mirror convos really bearing fruit? The only hope is that this moment in history looks the same in both timelines of what the end could be. Whether this the infection rising up and we fight and quell, or if it outscraps us and humanity just dies and fails. It was always gonna get worse before it got better. Racism was never gonna go quietly to the night. It never will, but I do believe that it along with greed could make its way out of our institutions so that all are free one day. I ain't say that it will, but today looks like today and both versions of the story, so gon' grab you a quill. It depends what we do. There's only one person the future starts and ends with, it's you.
Yo, this is RTTI in New York City, alongside Nappy Head Roots, who's in the building, and of course, none other than Nigel Nicholson. Live stream we usually do. First and foremost, I just want to give a shout out to Night of Thunder. This is the second week that he's been missing in action. Not sure what's going on with him. Hope the brother's okay. I've tried to reach out to him several times, haven't been successful. I tried again tonight, and hopefully he'll get this one. Whenever you hear this or you get the message on the voicemail night, hit me back up ASAP, bro. Just want to make sure you're good. At this point, what I'm going to do is just jump right into it. Nappy Head Roots has the first segment. He has some things he wants to drop, and the following second segment will be followed up by Nigel Nicholson. Nappy, you got the floor, bro.
Yeah, man. Why these police go out here, man? They're fucking. These police out here are relentless, bro. I mean, I've been hanging in there and shit, but like the police are doing like heavy targeting, like they're trying to prevent me from taking care of my business and all types of shit. They're rigging out my. I'm still rigging out my phone right now, man. They keep doing this shit to my phone.
Yo, do me a favor, Nap, if you can. I'm not sure if you realize it, but your voice is going in and out. It could be because you're kind of far from the mic, unless you do have the mic close to you, and it's probably them just messing with you already.
Did you hear that sound? Did you hear that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's them, man.
Okay. I can hear you now clearer for some reason. So I don't know if it's like they're trying to mess with it to make it seem it's down. And, I mean, I know what they do when they get down, so I totally believe you. But I'm just saying, like, I heard the second too, so these motherfuckers, like I said, they don't want this call to go down. Try to see if you could project your voice a bit. Maybe that'll, because you got the mic kind of far.
Yes, we're kind of taking off too, like that.
Okay, all right, so they're definitely messing with the call. You don't hear me at all?
I hear you, but you're coming in and go, it's like in and out.
Okay, yeah. I already know what time it is, man. So, yeah, without any further ado, brother, continue, man. If you drop what you told me for the documentation, that would be definitely appreciated, man. People know what's going on with you and what these motherfuckers have been doing and they've been up to. As far as fan stuff, man.
Yeah, so, I have a bill to pay with too. And they raised the astronomical.
I hear that.
See this shit, bro? Oh my God.
I hear that shit. Try to ignore that shit, man. I know I heard it. It's clearly, even the viewers listening in, they're hearing that shit. You know what I mean? So they know we're not like full of shit or playing games or anything like that. We're straight up and honest and putting the truth out there. All they're doing is showing their ass. And they're giving us audio footage proof of what they do. You know what I mean? Nappy, continue, bro.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, man, these motherfuckers, man. The police, they haven't been fucking attacking me with the bullshit, whether it's street theater, whether it's fucking anything to put a halt to my fucking recycle shit. They know that, and that's their thing. They like to go around, because they know that's all I do. I recycle. I don't get no type of fucking funding. What is it? I think it's funding, or not funding, but, I don't get no type of fucking benefits from the state or whatever, or have a job or whatever. So they know recycling is pretty much what I do. And they like to, they go around, the police would be going around like they'll go on 7-Eleven and shit. And I'll be like, they'll talk shit, they'll be their little shit talking like, so how they'll talk to each other amongst each other, but they'll say shit, so how's work? And then, they'll start fucking with the bullshit. Yeah, it's not as plentiful as it used to be, but, I'm still hanging in there, talking that bullshit. That bullshit, man, fucking, to the point to where when I get ready to go, when I start this vehicle up to go recycle, there'll be a cop somewhere, whether it's on this street, the next street over, or a couple streets down, man, but, he'll end up ushering me to the fucking spot where I'm going. Like, it's like, it's no getting away from them. And then when they usher me to some of the spots, they already have their plants there fucking just, wigging out the trash cans and shit, making it all messy and shit, to the point to where, doing shit like that. You feel me? I'm not getting stopped because if I'm going to recycle from there, I just clean up after myself and shit. I'm not gonna, I'm not even gonna stop there and it's just a lot of shit all over the place. I'm not gonna stop there and go in there and just walk away from that motherfucker because it looks like I did that shit. You feel me? And they know that shit. It's like they fucking know that shit. So, they don't even get the recycle out of the trash. It's like they leave it there because they know I'm not gonna stop there to the fucking spot. It's like they fucking, they're fucking with me tough, bro. And all I can do, man, is fucking laugh from flipping out, man. Because I know, like, the officers threatening and they're coming at me with the fucking bags and the fucking bicycle tires and all this fucking bullshit that they're trying to harass me with to let me know, like, they're gonna take my van and shit, bro. It's like, I know once they do take it, and then they're gonna super try and rub it in, and then I know I'm not gonna be able to handle it. I know I might be able to handle it for a couple of seconds, but it's legitimate. But once it really, once it sinks in that these are the motherfuckers that, these are the reasons, these motherfuckers are the reason why, the van is taken anyway. Like they fucking created their own fucking atmosphere and environment for me to lose it, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I know I'm not going after the homeless people and shit that they send at me with Target bags and shit. Not telling who one of the fucking drivers or Mercedes-Benz drivers and that motherfucker. There's so many wealthy people and shit out here. Like, I don't, like, if you do something to somebody, you don't know who I just know I'm not going for somebody that they're using as a fucking pawn, man. And, if I do, if anything, if I die, if I go to jail, anything, like, it's gonna be for somebody that's worth it, man. I love this fucking bullshit. Like, these people literally fucking, like, they're stripping a motherfucker's life away, man. And, like, this has been, I haven't been born for other people, man, but, I've been going through it long enough to be tired of this shit, man. So, and I think I got enough proof to where if I do anything, depending on who the person is, because if it's some prestigious motherfucker like, some governor's daughter or some bullshit like that, or governor's son or some weird shit like that, like, I might not have a chance yet. But, with the evidence that I do have, I feel like, I got a good fighting chance if I do choose to do anything. So, except not kill nobody or no shit like that. But, if I did decide to do something, like, I think I have a good chance to at least, fight this shit, man. It's not keep it out of jail. It's not keep from being out of jail. At least fight this shit to where, I could bring some light to this fucking program and shit. So, yeah, man. These second, these weirdos.
Yo, I hear you, Nap. You know what I mean? Like, I understand totally. I can't relate to it, but I can understand how you must be feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, when you said that they were targeting the target back, I'm like, I've been getting that a lot lately too, like the target buying and shit, And so I definitely be identifying with what you're saying about that, because it just be a tactic.
And bro, hey, the crazy thing, man, it's like they do it so blatant, man. Like I be parked, like right now I'm parked like in the middle of nowhere, like this is fucking, like it's almost like a main street alleyway, but like, there's nothing here, so it's just a street. No buildings, no nothing. You could park here, but, not too many people park here. Like, I'm literally in the middle, on an island, like in the middle of nowhere. It's a few cars parked here, but, not too many people. They come, and I'm parked in the middle. So, they come right with the target bags, and they stop right here. They're like across the street, but they stop. They come with the target bags, they stop, and then they turn right back around where they came from. Like they stop at my they stop where I'm at, and then they turn around, and now what they've been doing is they've been doing it with 2 fucking target bags and shit, like one in each hand. So like when they walk up, I see them walking up, and then when they go back, I see them going back with the target bag. It's fucking crazy, man. And like I know, it's so blatant. I don't, maybe not the, the whole outfit of the fucking program, but the shit that they're doing, the repetitive shit that they're doing is so fucking blatant. Like they create such a fucking pattern of the harassment. It's like, I don't understand, like people who can't see the fucking harassment, the target bag, the fucking one headlight motherfuckers, man. Like, I don't see how people can't see that as a form of harassment. Like, I know I have well over 200 different cars following me with one fucking headlight, man. And people don't even probably see like 20 in a lifetime.
Yeah, you make a solid point with what you just stated right there. Now, word up. Been getting the target bag shit myself, man, kind of heavy as well, man, especially on some lead tail perp shit, meaning that people who usually are in front of us, that are actually following us, but they're ahead of us and shit. That's why, the term lead tail perp, they carry the target bag. So visually, what I see in front of me when I'm going somewhere to a destination, I have that person with a target bag so I can see them in front of me carrying that shit. And then there'll be someone to pick up the so-called torch on a following corner, a couple of avenues down, as I'm about to enter the subway, when I'm heading for work or wherever else I may be going or coming back from. There'll be someone else there with another target bag, saying that it will pick up where they left off. And then I'll get on the train, and the other person will disappear, and then there'll be someone who comes on the train with another target bag, and they sit in front of me. You know what I mean? Like that sort of shit. I know exactly what you're talking about. And apparently Nigel's been getting that too lately. So they're incorporating within all of our target protocols all across the board. Pretty sure Night and Thunder may be getting that as well. I haven't said that he's saying that because he never said that to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if they also incorporated something like that to him over there. Nap, if there's anything else that you want to drop. Did you mention the thing about your band? What they've been doing?
As far as spiking up my shit and all that.
Yeah, that they're trying to take your van from you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah. They're doing it, and they're doing it in such a way, bro. It's like, they see me trying to get the money, and they're just fucking blocking me, bro. And it's fucking like, that's the fucking, and the more they block me, the more they rub it in my face like they're gonna take it. The more they send fucking weirdos with, trash bags full of clothes and all types of shit that I got. Like, they go as far as, like, these people literally know the type of shit that I have in my van. Like, like, certain fucking, like, protein, like, I got protein powder and shit. They be having people walk by with bags of clothes and fucking the protein powder. The fucking brand of protein powder that I got inside my van, bro. Like, these people are fucking wicked, man.
Yeah. For those who may be listening and wondering what Nappy's referring to, what he's referring to is that's how they let us know what we have in our personal property. It's a form of subliminal messaging indirectly towards us. You know what I mean? So this is the type of invading of our privacy that they go through, you know what I'm saying, with us, you know what I mean? And it's supposed to be on some, like, between us and them. And that's supposed to make us look crazy to the public if we go when we say something to them like, yo, why are you showing me this? I know you know what I got. You know what I'm saying? If you come out, you say something like that, you're going to look and sound crazy. And that's exactly what they try to do. That's a form of gaslighting. Right? But believe you me, it's real. It's part of the shit they do. Psychological warfare.
And see, like, and for me, like, that's that part that is hard for me to explain. It's hard for me to explain that part of the program. Like, I'm not really good at explaining it. I can show it, like, I can show the patterns of it and certain things that they do. Like, it's just, it's impossible to show the patterns because really, really, in all matters of speaking, like, it's really just literally between you and them or whoever else they let know. Like, there's no other way that anybody else could ever fucking, except your family, like, they could get...
Yo, Nat, pardon me, bro. They just, knocked off the live stream, so I'm about to start it over again. They completely knocked it off. Give me a second.
Trying our best to get the call back up.
We lost Nappy. I guess, he ended up getting probably frustrated for waiting, trying to get the call back up. And I got it back up now. Need patience for stuff like this. People want things to work quickly, but not how it goes. They knocked the call off, obviously, because they're not happy that things are going good as far as this call and people listening to us. So we got to do our best to keep this going. This is an important call. I'm going to pass the floor over to Nigel so he could go into segment 2. Then we're going to shut the call down because people have stuff that they got to take care of. And things come up like y'all already know. We'll be back hopefully next week, and we'll continue on from there. Nigel, you got the floor.
All right. Thanks, Rob. I tell you, these people, they're up to no good, and it's all the time. And the fact is, like with my son, yes, wants to contact the teacher to ask what's supposed to do if they don't answer that. Right? We don't say anything. Huh? So, yeah. Anyway, man, I have an article that I want to read. I'll talk a little bit about my targeting, and then I gotta go because I gotta help him out doing what he. At least I try to figure out what needs to be done to meet that. What needs to be turned in. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so the article that I'm going to read is from Dr. Richard Allen Miller. Dr. Richard Allen Miller was a physicist who was in the U.S. Navy, and he was a physicist, and he worked on a lot of the so-called directed energy weapons programs, right, from the U.S. Navy. So, all right. So this is synthetic telepathy and the early mind wars by Richard Allen Miller, copyright 2001. This is presented at the Consciousness Technology Conference, July 19th to 21st, 2001, on Saturday, and on Saturday, July 20th, 2001, in Sisters OR. Okay, and there's an update from it says 3/04/2003. Now the interesting thing is that when I was researching talent outside spectrum, his name came up, Dr. Richard Miller, right? But at the time, a couple of years later, he dropped the doctor from his name, and I guess he might have been might have retired or happy, but and it's just Richard Allen Miller. Also, you could have went on his website. Now, when you try to go on his website, he has a security measure, to make sure that that you're not someone who is trying to hack into his website. It's very interesting stuff. With this guy and the precaution that he's taken now, right? Because I guess maybe his website might have been attacked a couple of times. So if you go and if you type in www.richardallenmiller.com, you'll see what I'm talking about, right? So you have to accept the security measure, which is installing your browser in order for you to access his site. Okay? So, introduction. I first became aware of Alan H. Frey's work at Willow Cove in 1972, just after completing the holographic concept of reality. I was working with Dr. Carl Snitcher, MRU, at the time, and was asked about the significance of his work, realizing its possible use in mind control. My first reaction was to go on red alert. Full significance was not yet understood at the time. Basically, Frey had discovered another sensory motor input in the higher blue band frequency of 0.3 to 3 gigahertz, a very low amplitude of power. At very low amplitude of power. It was as if we had another type of vision, but did not know how to see. What was being received? It constitutes the next generation of subliminal communication. My work at the time was involved with an AI database for paranormal references, Project Parafile. A second paper was also presented at the Omnibus Symposium, California State College at Pomona, September 29, 1973. It was titled Embryonics Holography and was an application of the holographic concept of reality model. It dealt with biogenesis and neurological regeneration and included speculation on the origin of cancer, faith healing, psychic surgery, and more technical aspects of mind-body energetics. 1 week after the delivery of that paper, 4 men came into my place of business, 2 in suits and 2 in full army dress. And the 2 suits held me under close arrest, while the 2 army personnel went through my files, pulling anything related to embryonic holography. The paper was rewritten from old notes and memory, but it was not the same. We got this paper classified top secret for almost 20 years. Was that it? Was that it was 20 years was that it was critical for the use of Alan Frey's studies and its possible application to mind control. I never was able to draw what was so important in that initial paper until I began researching this paper more than 24 years later. I will discuss those aspects further in this documentation. In 1961, Alan Frey, a freelance biophysicist and engineering psychologist, reported that humans can hear microwaves. Most United States scientists dismissed this discovery as a result of outside noise. James C. Lynn offered a more technical description of the experiment. Frey found that human subjects exposed to 1310 megahertz to 2,982 megahertz microwave at average power densities of 0.42 millimeter wave centimeter square perceive auditory sensation described in 8 buttons called clicking sound. The sensation occurs instantaneously on average incidence power density well below the necessary for known biological damage and appears to originate from within or near the back of the head. Pulse microwave technology. Pulse microwave technology, voice to skull, or other sound to skull transmission, was discovered during World War II by radar technicians who found that they could hear the buzz of the train of pulse being transmitted by radar equipment they were working on. This phenomenon has been studied extensively by Dr. Alan Frey. Willicrove, 1965, whose work has been published in a number of reference books. What Dr. Frey found was that single pulses of microwaves could be heard by some people as pop or click, while a train of uniform pulse could be heard as a buzz, without benefit of any type of receiver. Dr. Frey also found that a wide range of frequencies as low as 125 megahertz, well below microwave, work for some combination of pulse microwave, of pulse power, and pulse width. Detailed unclassified studies mapped out that those frequencies and pulse characteristics, which are optimum for generation of microwave hearing. Very significantly, when discussing electronic mind control, that the fact that the peak pulse power required is modest, something like 0.3 watts per square centimeters of skull surface, and that this power level is only applied or needed for a very small percentage of each pulse cycle time. 0.3 watts per square centimeter is about what you get on a 250 watt heated lamp at a distance of 1 meter. It is not a lot of power. When you take into account that the pulse train is off, no signal for most of each cycle, the average power is so low that it has to be nearly undetectable. This is the concept of spike wave used in radar and other military forms of communication. Frequencies that act as voice-to-skull carriers are not single frequencies. As for example, TV and cell phone channels each Sensitive frequency is actually a range of band of frequency. A technology used to reduce both interference and detection is called spread spectrum. Spread spectrum signal usually have the carrier frequency hop around within a specific band. Unless a receiver knows this hop schedule in advance, like other forms of encryption, there is virtually no chance of receiving or detecting a coherent readable signal. Spectrum analyzers used for detection are receivers with a screen. A spread spectrum signal received on a spectrum analyzer appear as just more static or noise. The actual method of the first successful unclassified voice-to-skull experimentation was in 1974 by Dr. Joseph C. Sharp and Mark Grove, then at the Walter Reed Army University of Research. A Frey-type audible pulse was transmitted every time the voice waveform passed down through the zero axis, a technique easily duplicated by ham radio operators who built their own equipment. The sensation is reported as a buzzing, clicking, or hissing, which seems to originate within or behind the person with the head. The phenomenon occurs with carrier density as low as microwatts per square centimeter, which carries frequency from 0.3 to 3 gigahertz. By proper choice of pulse characteristics, intelligent speech may be created. Dr. James Lynn of Wayne State University has written a book entitled Microwave Auditory Effect and Application. It explores the possible mechanism for the phenomena and discusses possibility for the deaf, as persons with certain types of hearing loss can hear sound, can still hear pulse microwaves as tones or clicks or buzzes if words aren't modulated on. Lynn mentioned the Sharp and Grove experiment and comments. The capability of communication directly with humans by pulse microwave is obviously not limited to the field of therapeutic medicine. In 1975, researcher A.W. Guy stated that one of the most widely observed and effective biological effects of low average power electromagnetic energy is the auditory sensation evoked in man when exposed to pulse microwave. He concluded that at frequencies where the auditory effect can be easily detected, microwave penetrate deep into the tissue of the head, causing rapid thermal expansion at the microscopic level only. That produce strain in the brain tissue. An acoustic stress wave is then conducted through the skull to the cortex, right? And from there, it proceeds in the same manner as in conventional hearing. It is obvious that receiverless radio has not been adequately publicized or explained because of national security concerns. Today, the ability to remotely transmit microwave voices inside a target's head is known inside the Pentagon as synthetic telepathy. According to Dr. Robert Becker, synthetic telepathy has application in covert operation designed to drive a target crazy with voices or deliver undetected instruction to a program assassin. This technology may have contributed to the death of 25 defense scientists variously employed by McConney Underwater and Defense Systems, ESIM and GEC. Most of the scientists worked on a highly sensitive electronic warfare program for NATO, including the Strategic Defense Initiative. It is claimed that directed energy weapons might have been used to literally drive these men to suicide, and 291 accidents. Okay? Biological amplification using microwave band frequency. The next major development in ELF weaponry was the concept of a biological amplification of these signals at the cell level to perpetuate and set up resonance for more sophisticated information transfer. This was the beginning of using more than one technology in a stack to do something more. While this was implied, it was never developed in the holographic concept of reality. Electromagnetic fields are relatively weak power levels can affect intercellular communication. By application is apparently why radio signals of very low average power, millimeter watts, can produce audio effects and is difficult to detect. Electromagnetic interaction with biological systems, edition by Dr. James Sealand, University of Illinois, 1989. Impose weak low-frequency fields and radio frequency fields that are many orders of magnitude weaker in the pericellular fluid between adjacent cells than the membrane potential gradient, voltage across the membrane, can modulate the action of hormones, antibodies, neurotransmitters, and cancer-promoting molecules at their cell surface receptor site. These ELF sensitivities appear to involve non-equilibrium and highly cooperative process that mediates a major amplification of initial weak triggers associated with the binding of these molecules. Specific cell surface receptor site membrane amplification is inherent in this transmembrane signal sequence. Initial stimuli associated with weak perpendicular EM fields and with binding of stimulated molecules at their membrane receptor site elicit a highly cooperative modification of Ca++ binding of glycoproteins along with the membrane. The longitudinal spread of consistent with the direction of extracellular current flow associated with physiological activities and imposed EM field. This cooperative modification of surface Ca++ binding is an amplifying stage. By imposing RF field, there is a far greater increase of Ca++ efflux than is accounted for in the event of receptor Lingard binding from imposing RF field. Enzyme and protein molecules that function as catalysts initiating that enhanced chemical reaction and would not otherwise occur in tissue temperature. The ability resides in the pattern of electrical charge on the molecular surface. Okay, so Frey and Messenger confirmed that a microwave pulse with a low rise time was ineffectual in producing an auditory response. Only if the rise time is short, resulting in effect of a square wave with respect to the leading edge of the envelope of radiated radio frequency energy, does the auditory response occur. This is why we don't hear ordinary radio or TV signals. Okay? All right, so it goes on to say that the significance of embryonic holography now becomes more understandable, right? And then they talk about the frequency band. And this means that frequency can be seen as scala in their possible interaction with specific brain processes, right? With these frequencies, what these frequencies really are, however, are actual holograms of specific thought they have a third component of detail, much like a patented P3000 wave, 300 wave. This means that a hybrid form of brain fingerprinting is now possible. Now, I talked about this before, right? Brain fingerprinting, meaning that being able to identify your consciousness, right? And once you can identify each and every one of our consciousness, they call that brain fingerprint. Just like your thumbprint, your fingerprints in your hand are specifically designed for you. Because everyone has a different there's a very small chance you may get, try somebody with the same handprint, at least a fingerprint, right? But not all of the fingers would be the same. But every human being, okay, have a different fingerprint pattern. And that's why when you get arrested, they fingerprint you, right? So now they can basically identify your consciousness. And that is what they call brain fingerprinting. Okay? So, it says, this means that the habit form of brain fingerprinting is not possible. And once these images are stored, usually in a very sophisticated, super cool computer, similarly response can be fed back to the person, inducing virtually any state desired. So any state that they want to put your mind in, whether it be happy, sad, delusional, what have you, on drugs, feeling like that, euphoric, feeling on drugs, they're able to do that. Okay? So when they talk about these things don't exist, bullshit. Okay? We have the documentation. All right? Each vertical line is one short pulse of microwave signal at a frequency to which the human brain is sensitive. Timing of each microwave pulse is controlled by each drop-down slope crossing of the voice of the voice wave, the Sharp method 1974. Then the brain converts the train of microwave pulse back to inaudible voice. There is no conscious defense possible against this form of hypnosis. You understand what I'm saying? There is no possible defense against silent sound spectrum. When they're basically beaming instruction in your head, you're thinking that it's your own consciousness that is forming these thoughts, but it is not. It is coming from outside, right? Via pulse-modulated microwave or radio wave frequency. Ordinary radio
external source, coming from an external source. Yes. The brain has no firewall.
There's no firewall. There's nothing. So no matter what you do, right? But I think for us as TIs, we can recognize some of those thoughts, right? Because we've been through it, right? But we cannot defend against those thoughts 100% of the time because they can use it in certain situations, right? And it depends on the situation that they'll use it. They'll create the situation where they know they can slip in the thought, and you wouldn't think twice about it. You just follow along and go ahead with the instruction. You know what I'm saying?
Thinking it's your thoughts.
Thinking it's your thoughts. Something you're not even thinking about. You know, imagine like you at a party, right? You at a party and somebody come and offer you drugs, right? You never done drugs before. You didn't even try it before, right? All of a sudden, you're like, okay, fine, just like that, right? Well, you've said no 100 times, 1,000 times. But all of a sudden, that one time now, what makes that one time so different? That the other ones, you know what I'm saying, was different, was such that you say no. Now all of a sudden, this one time you do it. This is how they slip in these things, and they slip in these thoughts into your consciousness to try to get you onto drugs. Okay?
This is how powerful this technology is. It has the power to sway your usual opinion to the opposite side of the spectrum. For example,
right.
If you're a heterosexual male, they could have you sway your opinion for a minute and go to the homosexual side and have some homosexual thoughts. And you're wondering, what the fuck am I even thinking? You know what I'm saying? And I've heard people say this, including myself, and I'm sure other TIs have gotten weird shit like that happened to them.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
That's them. That's the technology. That's how powerful it is. That's what proves what Nigel's saying and how it comes out and confirms with this article how powerful this technology is. Silent sound, spread spectrum, synthetic telepathy, which is the Pentagon's version of what they're saying the same thing is.
Right. And also, like they used to use a lot of gay men in my targeting to try to get me to, try to get me to hate women so that I'll talk to gay men because, again, my negative experience with women, right? But again, I just kind of like, yeah, like, okay, whatever. I'm like, whatever, man. But anyway. So, ordinary radio and TV signal use a smooth waveform called a sine wave. This wave signal cannot normally penetrate the voltage gradient across the nerve cell wall. And the sine wave is like, when you think of a sine wave, if you take your hands, right, and you make like an upside down U, and you go all the way down, and you keep in that same form, right? So you put a line on the paper, take a pencil or pen, right, and you make a U, and then you go down to the bottom of that line. I can put it like this: you got 3 lines: top, middle, bottom. Start at the middle. You go up to the top, you go all the way down through the middle, go down to the bottom, come back up, and you repeat the process. That is what a sine wave looks like. That is a sine wave, right? So, okay, so radar signal consists of very short and powerful pulse or sine wave type signal and can penetrate the steep voltage gradient across the nerve cell wall. Alan H. Frey, Cornell University, 1962. Now, during that same time these things were being developed, you also had Dr. Jose Delgado, who also was using radio signals to control animals as well as people, right? And also, he had said that in the next decade or two, they will be able to do this wireless. So this was in 1960, in the 1960s, when Dr. Jose Delgado wrote his book. His book name. Shit, I forgot it. Anyway, he wrote a book on this subject, right? Dr. Jose Delgado. I can't remember, the name is not coming to me right now, but it'll come out. I'm sure it'll come back. So anyway, so the differences in osmosis in iron dissolved salt component cause a small voltage difference across cell wall. When the small voltage appear across a very tiny distance, the change in the voltage is called a steep. It is this steep gradient that keeps normal radio signals from throwing us into convulsion. So imagine that, right? Let's say because of that voltage in our body. Remember, they study our body. We know we have electrical fields in our body, right? There's electrical current in our body. When the neuron is, when we're thinking, that's electricity that's constantly being fired off, right? You have neurons, electrons, protons, all these things, right? And these things, they repel and attract, right? And this forms current, right? Electricity. Okay, so the mind-altering mechanism is based on a subliminal carrier technology, the silent sound spread spectrum, SSS, sometimes called S-Squad or Squad. It was developed by Dr. Oliver Lowry of Norcross, Georgia, and is described in U.S. patent, blah, blah, blah. So anyway. A silent communication system in which carriers in a very low or very high audio frequency range in an adjacent ultrasonic frequency spectrum or amplitude are frequency modulated with the desired intelligence and propagated acoustically or vibrationally for inducement into the brain, typically through the use of loudspeaker, earphones, or piezoelectronic transducers, and modulated carriers may be transmitted directly in real time or may be conveniently recorded and stored on mechanical, magnetic, or optical media for delay or repeated transmission to the listener. Okay? According to the literature by Silent Sound Inc., it is now possible using supercomputers to analyze human emotional EEG patterns and replicate them, then store these emotional signature clusters in another computer and at will silently induce and change the emotional state of in a human being. Okay? So what more can you say? You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to keep it this short because, like I said, I got to, you guys can read the rest on the link. The documents will be provided in the links, and you guys can read that for yourself and understand what's going on.
If you don't mind, bro, can you give a brief synopsis of your targeting?
Yeah. Yeah. So, so my targeting, man, is, let me tell you, they have been, even today, what they've been doing now is there's fire trucks. I guess, I did hear one fire truck tonight, though. But yesterday they were going off because I was over by Pam, and she thought I was going to stay. I was like, no, I'm not staying. And I said, I'm leaving at 6, and within like a few minutes, they just, like, for a good 10 to, I'm not sure how long it was, but I know it was a long time. They were just constantly fire with the noise campaign. today sending me subliminal messages. Yesterday, coming over here, my parents was like, sending me subliminal messages about they're going to kill me and all this shit. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know, you do the same shit over and over. You get threatened to take away my disability. I'm like, okay, well, you know, the shit that you guys do all the damn time. So I don't really give a damn. You know, that shit, you're still not going to silence me, right? So that's basically what it is. Then they're trying to make me feel like, oh, because I'm recording, the recording that I'm doing, I'm going to target me doesn't mean anything. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, okay. I said, yeah, that's why when you get so blatant in your targeting and record your asses the next day or the you know, for about a week, you know, you're going back into your caves and whatever the hell you go back into your hole. And then, you know, you reformulate and come back in again. So don't tell me that me recording, my targeting has no effect. Because I know it does. Because more people become aware of what they're doing, right? And sometimes because of that, you know, I see them trying to hide, you know, mask their targeting so much. But I understand what they're doing, and you know, I can pick it up and I can see exactly what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah, I'm saying, but as far as that, like I said, you know, from my parents came over here now, the snowstorm, she wanted me to stay for the kids tomorrow, and I said to myself, you know, if she starts talking to me, I'm gonna leave. You know, simple as that. You know, so she started a little bit, and I'm like, I said, listen, do you have any backup plan for tomorrow? Because you know, I might go home. And then she stopped talking to me. You know, so because you know, she asked me last night, but I didn't want to give her an answer because I know if I did, you know, what they'll try to do is I said, well, you said yes, and she's going to target me, and if I leave, they'll try to make me look bad. And that's what they do. Especially with me as a target, they try to make all of us look bad. But if I target, this is one thing that they'll do. You know, to try to make me look bad, you know? So, you know, like I said, I did a video, and I was like, yeah, this is what they're trying to do. Because I anticipated. And so I put the video out there because they know that if I leave, they know the reason why. And I said, you know, if I leave, I do it for my own mental state, right? As opposed to me being here as she's targeting me. And, you know, and then I leave later, and then they'll be like, look, snowstorm coming, look, he just leaves her with the two kids, whatever. And I had to say this. I said, look, she made the decision, right? In terms of she, you know, because of what she was doing, what she did in the past, that she wanted to be single, she wanted to go date people, whatever. And I'm like, because I know she's not realistic. She doesn't have a realistic mindset. And so I was like, okay, fine. You know, hey, you know what I'm saying? That's what you want. But then it's hard for a woman raising two kids, and particularly for a person like her personality is even harder. That's why she basically discards these children when she comes home, and they're up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on a school night while she's in bed sleeping, her bedroom door closed. She doesn't. Once she comes in to feed them, she forgets about them, and that's what my son is failing, right? And then you know it's interesting because RT, you know, they're giving you problems with your with the call tonight, right? And then she receives a note from my son's teacher, right? After 8 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Okay? Like after 8 o'clock at night, knowing that I have this show to do. Because again, they try to make me feel, I just said to myself, I said, listen, the one that you didn't know, put that to the side. Because you don't know how to do it. Because I can help you with that one because you don't even know what to do. I said, but the one I saw you reading, I said, finish that one. And then when I get off of this call, I'll come and I'll sit down with you and I'll help you with that one. As far as the other one, I said, ask one of your classmates. Send them a message or somebody, you know, that, you know, is in the same grade as you, because you're probably doing the same thing, and ask them. You might have them in a different class, because you may not have them in your English class, but you're probably doing the same thing. So that's what I said, because, you know, they're always trying to circumvent ways to try to make you look bad. As they try to play me and her against each other, right? Just like how they do with us TI. They try to play us against each other. You know, sometimes it's the technology, right? And so we have to recognize these things. You know what I'm saying? And as I said, sometimes, you know, that's why I got to. I don't really take things personal when it comes to TIs, and you know that, RT. You know what I'm saying? But I do know that it affects them, and it also affects me. It affects everybody. You know what I'm saying? But it's how we rebound and bounce back from it is what matters. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely,
yeah, man. So now they started with like and when I went home last night, and then I came over here, they started with the car revving now. So all you hear is like this car was revving for like a good hour, just revving his engine. I'm like, dude, that come on, you know what I'm saying?
Funny you say that, again, because there's another female TI from I think Queens or Brooklyn. I'm not sure. She's on YouTube also. She goes by iight, and she had the same thing happen to her with this yellow car that just revs for like 45 minutes straight. And she said that she was gonna record it, but then she was like, she didn't really want to do it or what have you. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny. Check this out, right? Because it's funny that you said that, right? When you said that TI, when you talk about the other TI, right? There was a bottle. I don't know what it was. I was on the ground here, and I picked it up and I turned it over. And as soon as you say her name is B, the bottle on the bottle it has the letter B on it. It's Bumble and Bumble B mended conditioner. You know what I'm saying? So that's to tell you how because again being microchip, they can see what I see. You know what I'm saying, through the implantation, so they know. I'm just like, wow, But again, real time, I'm saying this as we're on the call, so it can be recorded, so people can know, so they can see what I'm talking about. I hear what I'm talking, not see, but hear what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what they'll do.
I remember that joint that I told you about. I was talking to this other female TI. I think she was from Canada at the time. And she lived with her mother, and we were speaking, and I had to get off and take care of some stuff, and I'll talk to you later, what have you. And then in the midst of me doing what I was doing, she had texted me, and then I had thought about something to say that was funny or whatever, and I would have sworn it was my thought, because I remember hearing this when I used to be hanging out in a bar, and I was, not aware of my targeting. And I heard somebody say cool beans as a form of responding back to a text. So that's exactly what I chose to write in the text. I figured it'd be something, funny to say or whatever. And because he told me, I'm going to go and do this. And I was like, all right, cool beans, right? And I responded with that. And then she responded back, LOL, started laughing, cool beans. But then immediately after that, he goes, stop targeting us. Like in bold letters and an exclamation point. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck happened? You know what I mean? I was like, what do you mean targeting? Stop targeting us. I'm like, you know what? I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just going to call you direct because this texting shit, I don't know. I don't want to wait for a response and not know what's going on. So I called her back and I asked her what happened. She goes, well, you're targeting me. I was like, how the hell am I targeting you guys? What do you mean? I don't understand. She goes, well, my mother just finished eating a can of beans out the refrigerator. You see where I'm going? So that's how what Nigel was talking about, that the technology is in real time. You know what I'm saying? And it's artificial intelligence. It has to be because it's too precise. It's too exact. And it just hits the perfect moment and says this perfect thing for you to end up in a scenario where you distrust each other. Because they don't like real TIs, genuine TIs, to connect and keep a solid connection. So they'll pull shit like that off on you. I was totally shocked when that happened. I was totally, surprised. Like, what? What are the odds of that shit? You know what I'm saying? But that's exactly what happened. Do not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's without a doubt, man. And that's sometimes like especially with me and Neil, how we used to play us against each other, because we didn't fully quite understand the scope of the technology, and so. Sometimes he wouldn't even answer my call because, again, how he was being targeted. And I just said to myself, listen, man, if when you're heavy days of targeting, if you see me calling you for whatever reason, just don't answer. I said, just don't answer. And I said, vice versa. When in my heavy day of targeting, if I'm being targeted heavy and I see you calling, I'm not going to answer. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to wait till the next day, and then we'll call each other, because whatever agenda they have going on that day, you know what I'm saying, obviously they want us to speak to each other so they can send in some subliminal message and shit, And so that's, we had for years, we started to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I understand because of what I was experiencing, that that this technology was capable of these things. You know what I'm saying? And I used to be, like I said, I always tell a story about, you know, like I would get up on the weekend that I didn't have my son, I would go and to get on the train, go to Manhattan, 14th Street, had the big Barnes and Noble there in Union Square. And every time I go there, there was like some white people, either one or two of them, on the, you know, in front of the Barnes and Noble. When they see me, you know, they like give me like the thumbs up, and I'm like, what is going on here? And you know, it took me about a good like 4 or 5 months to really start to like pay attention, right, and understand what was happening. Okay. So, like I said, for a good 4 months, I didn't quite understand that. Like, why every Saturday I would get up and do that? You know, like I didn't understand. But until I think I was maybe it was there was this guy. Who is that I found his website just by accident. I don't know what happened, but I just found his accident. I mean, his website. And I started reading what, you know, the things that he was talking about. And there was one thing that he wrote that used to happen to me. Remember, I keep telling you guys about how when I would go out to lunch, like all these teenagers will come and want to talk to me. You know, these young girls, teenagers. And they would stand in front of me and bend over on the desk or the table in front of me. Well, I usually go to, sometimes I go to McDonald's or Wendy's, and they would do that. And then, you know, one of them would be like looking at me to see if I'm looking at the other one. And I'm like, what is going on? But I already knew this was going to happen because on this guy's website, this is what he experienced. And he said that he literally had to curse at one of them and told him to get the F away from me. Okay? And when I realized that, when that was what happened to me, I was like, okay, I definitely know something is up. Right? I said, I definitely knew something was up. And from that day, I started looking deeper into the technology and realizing exactly what the technology is about. And, you know, Richard Miller was one also, when I went to his website, he had more information about silent sound spectrum because he went into very detailed information. But a couple of years later, a lot of information was no longer on his website. And now that I go on his website, like I said, and he had some security measures and so I know they were attacking his site. So this is one of the, again, you know, they will, once they go dark, they try to get rid of everything, all the information, okay? But some things are still available online, maybe not from, this information that I read today is no longer on his website. This is, somebody downloaded this documentation, okay? Because you can't find this anymore. This was on his website, with Richard Allison. So he might have gotten threatened and took it down, but somebody had already downloaded the documents and they put it online. But you got to do a lot of searching for it. But I was able to get it, so you guys will be provided with a link to the PDF and just download it before you get taken off of the internet.
Yo, Nigel, what was that you had mentioned earlier about when NAPPY was talking about he's being hit with target back, you know, visual triggering and shit like that? You said you started noticing that with you as well?
Yeah. A lot of people, you know, having target. I know people, you know, people go to Target. I shop at Target, okay? But it's how they approach you with the target back, you know? And what they do is like when they see you, they'll either hold it up so you can see it, okay? Or they'll do something to get your attention. Then they'll turn so you can see the target bag. And I just look at it, my interpretation is like, yeah, I know, I'm a target individual. So, so you ain't got. I know I'm being targeted. So.
Yeah, this was before we got the whole live stream shut down. The first call. This is part 2.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick up from that where we left off and finish our thoughts on that because I'd like to also, reiterate that I've also seen that a lot more lately in my targeting as far as the data.
Yeah, and it's funny how they take it on the live stream as soon as we start talking about that. Right?
Exactly, and then they try to make me forget about it, but then I remember now, and I was like, now we gotta fucking jump into this and finish those thoughts off. I mean, because what they like to do is they like to shut shit down, disrupt our thinking, and then hopefully that we will forget. Probably even use the dissolution of memory or the brain fog frequencies to, make us forget shit like that. But all they can do, man, is temporarily delay the shit. But we'll always bounce back at some point. Just wanted to jump back in there and finish those thoughts on that, man, because I feel those were relevant points that needed to be finished.
Yeah.
And dot all the I's and cross all the T's, you know what I mean? So
yes. But many people don't understand about pulse modulated microwave, and that's because again these are very technical terms, and when you start talking about these things, it goes over people's heads, right? But if you tell them, actually, that's the reason why I went back to school to take up computer engineering, right? Because a lot of these things that I was reading, I mean, I love computer, I built computers, you know what I'm saying? I troubleshoot, what should go wrong with my computer, my kid's computer, what have you. I even, I have my kids sit with me, and be able to troubleshoot together if there's an issue so that they know, right? So all these technical terms I was learning. In my first 3 semesters there. And I'm just like, oh, okay, all right, okay, I see what it means now, And this is something that, like I said, also if you have the opportunity, go back to school, you take psychology because you get to be people in the community who understand psychology. You know what I'm saying? Go back and pick up the technical field, so that way, you can learn these things so that way you can help the community and also help yourself. If you help yourself, also help your target as you go to, right? And so we have to help ourselves. I always say this. We cannot, there are many people out there trying to help us, right? But they may be helping us in a way in which they don't want to get, exposed or found out because they're just might become a TI. So we appreciate their help. But we also have to do our part, right? And we can, yes, when we talk about our targeting, but we cannot just talk about our targeting, right? Whether, you can do your part, you don't have to go back to school or anything like that. You can, learn this stuff, do your research, or be there that a certain TI can call and you can listen to that person because maybe it may help them, because listen, talking about your problems is therapeutic. Talking about the issues that you're going on or having is therapeutic, right? But what they have done, particularly with not just TIs, but people who are going through, difficult time or who they have mental illness, right? What they have done is say, you don't want to hear what you're going through. You're just going to give you medication. Because the pharmaceutical, it is the pharmaceutical industry, it is a $1 business. Okay? Tens of billions of dollars are earned by pharmaceutical companies with these drugs. And what they do is that they create the drugs first. Okay? And then the mental illness or the mental illness diagnosis, yes, right?
And I also believe that they not only do that, Nigel, they also do the upkeep of the organized stalking, the provoking, the stares, the noise campaign, things like that. They upkeep that to keep the mental illness growing and getting worse.
It is an industry within an industry. You have the biggest industry in pharmaceutical companies. Then you have the mental the mental institutions, right, or the departments of mental health, what have you. Okay. Then on top of that, you have the psychiatrists, you have the psychologists, right? Then below that, you have the perps who they pay to engage in certain type of psychological warfare to get diligent people to think that they have mental illness, give them drugs. That is the business model. This is what they do. Okay? That is the business model, right? And doing my research,
you have the technology as well that helps them in combination with the psychological warfare tactics and things like that.
You want me to help you?
To maintain the grasp of what they have. Okay? That shit is most definitely real and it's deep like that, y'all.
Yeah. So this is what people have to understand. These industries are created because there is money to be made, and so they will create these things because, again, and when you look at, and you know what actually, and the thing is this: more women than men are targeted. Okay, and the reason for that, again, is because women are less aggressive than men. Okay? So they can pick on a female without any fear of physical repercussion from that individual. And of course, for a man, they have to worry about that, right? That's the reason why. And even as a man, you get targeted by the police more so than as if you're a female TI. They see how they operate. Male TI, there are more female TIs than male TIs, so the male TIs will use more police other than intimidating.
Well, no question about it.
Right? So yeah. All right, man. But listen, I gotta go. I gotta go help my son.
I know. I appreciate you.
But
time on this call to do that because I really appreciate that. I'm sure our loyal listeners also appreciate that because it's necessary, man. This is a very relevant call. But I know you got to take care of business at home. You know what I'm saying? Take care of Ethan, help him out with the homework. Again, man, appreciate you for doing that. And I'll keep in contact with you, you know what I'm saying, during the week, let you know what's good, you know what I mean, with the situation that I'm talking to you about with Nate.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, we'll connect, brother. You have yourself a good night, sleep well, man, and keep it positive, keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah. All right, man, peace, all right? And good night, everybody.
Peace. With that being said, I'm going to shut down the call for tonight. It's been an interesting call. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties. You already know what time it is with that, man. These fools, they like to play these games to try to show some sort of like, oh, well, we're not going to allow y'all to make the call. You ain't going to allow shit, motherfuckers. Right? All you could do is delay. But you're not going to stop anything. I can already hear. Still going. It's going to continue to keep going regardless. You can try to delay it all you want. It's not going to stop anything. And with that being said, I want everybody to have a good week up ahead. Stay strong. Keep focused. If anything, this stuff, it goes up and down. It fluctuates in regards to how heavy it could be one week and how it could go from one week to another to absolutely less targeting that you wouldn't expect. Like, why the hell they're not targeting me? That's the sensitization that causes someone to ask, why isn't there enough turfs out here following me around? I don't barely see any. Because you're so used to that being there, then when you don't see it, you see what I'm saying? That's how that shit works. Psychologically. That's why they do it the way they do it. Anyway, been a good call. This is the part 2 to the part 1 that they knocked off earlier from the live stream. But it's still recorded because I still got it, and it will be uploaded eventually. That's the one with NAPPY speaking in the beginning. And then, of course, part 2, which is this one with Nigel Nicholson, saying his piece and reading the article that was very necessary to hear and continue getting educated on. I will be adding the links to these particular articles within the description box. Y'all stay safe, and we're going to keep this going regardless. This is RTTI in New York City.
The union is that there isn't one. If a house divided can't stand, we been sitting, but sitting officials letting you starve and die. They say for a party, I say it's dogma to America's awful lie. Sniffing the party line, intoxicated from white. That fake superiority created by authority to convince the parts he still one cast up. Cause at least you not black, and if at least you not that, then if you see and got mad that the elite eat on backs of your labor, you point at your neighbor instead of up to keep you off track. They told you your sins weren't sins, but beneath that hatred is shame. Your humanity was picked and sold with the cotton of slave. System is fucked, we benefit passively. White liberals and such make a social identity from giving a fuck. But that privilege they may acknowledge, they ain't giving it up. We ain't living it much. The ego's driving the car, and it just depends on where it got its license. How many of us really choose our own thoughts and vices? You don't get paid, but you're a walking advertisement. Made us all addicted to fame so that we work for free. Millions factless cause their schools ain't teach them how to find them. If they get to choose, they pick the ones that their wants align with. Can you track your opinion to its origin? If not, iight then. We move without intent, they profit when we not decisive. Rappers been lazily referencing the Matrix for years. Who knew algorithms would really dictate what we cheer? Too lazy to care, afraid to look inward. We live in our own news, for we live in our own truth. Fake tweets about how you love everyone. You won't even wear a mask to save somebody's grandmother. Entitled to the lies of freedom, you in denial. I seen this shit for a while, it's lethal, man, word to Dan Glover. You can't fake lightning, but you could plan thunder. Pay a racist brand before we pay attention. I sit in damn wonder. Yeah. And everyone talking generational wealth, but outside making money for ourselves. We won't give the next generation no help. May already be too late to save the fucking planet. If we don't stop playing, there won't be no more generations to help. We train people for survival of the fittest in traumatic conditions and sold them things that kill them. We made life into a gamble in the name of capitalism, then tried to hit the democracy switch when COVID hit, and now it's destined to fail. You can't abuse populations, leave them destitute and vacant, and then ask them to care about anything but their next move. Our own nation to blame, so I get why we at the club. Still, I ain't say I'm not enraged, I want better from us. I just don't expect it. Trauma is cyclical, the most likely ones to neglect are the neglected. They have futures selling you Molly Lean, Percocet, and you think for a check they need a scheme on vaccine injections? A lot of the soft bigotry of low expectations, a lot of fetishization, celebrating regressive themes in the name of progression. And when something truly powerful come, it's hesitation. And there's this fishy correlation between what's considered cool and what profits for corporations. Rappers streaming tens of mils considered not as poppin', cause on their next endeavor, no labor owns an option. So vacancy across the culture. So when they say they do it for it, man, I gotta wonder. The only culture is validate wins and win equals money. Truths like my chest in 06 is beneath with a rugby. I don't even like talking this direct. I ain't no book report ass rapper, but I object to the marriage to greed and clout without heat and doubt of what winning means. Ask why we on different teams, we don't play the same sport. Started getting to some places I've been trying to go and looking around like, yo, this ain't what I came for. So if I gotta give up what's righteous to get it, you can keep it. Fuck a popular lie, I'd rather be a truthful secret. Herd immunity to truth and self-assessment. Truth is, if not for COVID, Trump would've won re-election in a landslide. So we evaded Armageddon for good old store brand depression. But if a leader more savvy and less sociopathic with true fascist aspirations come along, it's gonna be tragic. 74 million proved if the right rhetoric is used. We could end up on the wrong side of World War II too. And to defeat white supremacy, you gotta first want to defeat white supremacy. I don't think most of us really do. How many white mirror convos really bearing fruit? The only hope is that this moment in history looks the same in both timelines of what the end could be. Whether this the infection rising up and we fight and quail, or if it outscraps us and humanity just dies and fails. It was always gonna get worse before it got better. Racism was never gonna go quietly to the night. It never will, but I do believe that it along with greed could make its way out of our institutions so that all are free one day. I ain't say that it will, but today looks like today and both versions of the story, so gon' grab you a quill. It depends what we do. There's only one person the future starts and ends with, it's you.